Somewhere out there, there's a girl with flowers in her hair going to California, Andy. We're going to California this morning. No, it's not serious. Led Zeppelin this morning. Led Zeppelin again this morning because it is September, where it is all Zeppelin all the time. Going to California, Led Zeppelin. Very underrated song. Very good song. Did they do a bad song? No. 90 yesterday. Holy, 90 in September. Weekend was smoking hot. But I like big butts and I can't deny. You others brothers can't deny. Sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. But looking at the weekly forecast, it appears, Andy, what you do this weekend besides sweat? It appears we have a major, not a lieutenant, not a colonel, but a major cold front coming in tomorrow. And highs in the 50s. Possible snow in the mountains. And suddenly, last summer, no doubt, man, wow. Snow in the mountains. See pictures on the internet, Colorado, Pikes Peak. It's 8 feet of snow. 8 feet of snow in Pikes Peak. It is Monday. It is September 18th to be exact. And all systems are, let's go, at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, today, Andy, what is it? Andy's like messaging. I wish I could bring this around for everybody. These are the messages I get. I get multiple pictures, all sorts of crap. I get everything from Associated Press stories, National Day stories, pictures of disasters, national disasters. 3 weeks ago, he was sending me pictures of Danica Patrick's feet. And you never know what's coming up on the screen here. But today, I see that it is National Cheeseburger Day. Cheeseburger in paradise, da-da-da. It is. So, Andy, after the show, no brunch. Like we're going to go to brunch. It's all systems go for cheeseburgers. Here in town, well, the Burger Masters are gone. We have the Roadhouse Diner. 2K's is closed now, but their burgers were like, as far as the eye can see. So, that's what's going on. I mean, what's else, Andy? It's National Cheeseburger, and he's got big letters UAW. Well, Andy, first it was the writers, okay? The writers are like, no. And then it was the actors. Now it's the auto workers. They're on strike. The Detroit, as you've listened to other podcasts, Detroit, when I was growing up, Detroit was the pinnacle of the auto industry. It was the third largest city in the country. Imports, Carter administration, a couple other things happened. Riots, a lot of things happened. Detroit went from the third largest city in the country in 69? Throw it up there, Andy. Give me the pop stats for 1965. That's 9. Okay, so that's growing up. All right, there we go. Detroit, Michigan, number 3. New York, Chicago, Detroit. Then it was we got the actors on strike, the writers on strike. Everybody's on strike. Andy, we should go on strike. We'll just pick it out front. It's the big 3. It's the big 3. It's Ford, General Motors, and it's, what is it? Stellantis. Chrysler. Okay, I'm going to call it Chrysler. They didn't reach a deal last week. They had negotiations going back and forth. They even met, Andy, met Saturday. The strike started at Friday, late last week, Friday. This one's going to be a doozy. As United Auto Workers, and we talked about the United Auto Workers just, a couple weeks ago when we talked about Hoffa? Why were we talking about Hoffa? But we talked about Hoffa and the whole thing, and now we're back at the labor unions. And, we're Labor Day. We talked about Hoffa and labor unions and the Teamsters, the United Auto Workers. The United Workers want to take back some of the profits that the billionaire CEOs and upper management has been raking in since before the pandemic. Like I said, it started last week, Friday, right, Andy? Friday, yep. 12,700 at the Ford plant in Michigan, the General Motors plant in Missouri, and the Chrysler plant, Stellantis. That don't sound like an auto. The Chrysler plant in Ohio, 2,700 at the time. They have rotating shifts, in case you don't know. I've seen them before, the auto strikes. They run 24/7, so you got people from all the shifts, seniority. It's a weird situation. But this is the first time in the history. Like I said, Andy, I'm from Detroit. Detroit Lions. I'm from Detroit, and so the big 3, this is Detroit. The Chrysler Center, the Ford Motor Company owns Greenfield Village and all that. I mean, Jesus. But it's the first time in history that they've striked at all 3 at the same time. And frankly, I'm thinking that's, Andy, Andy's like, yep, that's what had to happen, okay? To have any impact at all. It's going to have obvious impact with supplies and supply chains, even the consumers, like the actors and writers strike have. It's a trickle down. What's on TV right now during the week? Okay, none of your usual shows. But there's a whole glut of reality shows. They got Bachelor in Paradise, Senior Bachelors, Teen Bachelors, Pregnant Bachelors. Everything's going on. Dirty Dozens. I'm making them up, aren't I? They're just reality shows. Let's put people on TV, embarrass the crap out of them, and it'll be funny. When it hits the auto industry, it's going to have a trickle-down effect. And it's going to be able to see. Everybody involved in the auto industry is going to feel this. Now, the United Auto Workers, Andy, thank you. United Auto Workers represents about 400,000 workers total across numerous different automobile sectors, okay? And about 146,000 of those work at the big three. And again, that's Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. Okay, now, right now, the strike is only covering or impacting about 10%. And is that right? 10%? 10% of the total United Auto Workers membership. And, wow, look at the disruption already. And, it's only 10%. And look at it. Now, the United Auto Workers contracts, as you may or may not know, and I know because we looked it up. Andy looked it up. It was on my desk, and here we go. They were signed in 2019. Okay, that was just before, you guessed it, 2020 pandemic. Okay. Remember the huge profits during the pandemic, the lockdown. Do you remember that? Huge. Here in Great Falls, Walmart was open, Target was open, McDonald's was open, Burger King was open, but the Roadhouse and the 2Ks that we were talking about earlier and the local bar or casino weren't open. Big businesses were raking in the money during the pandemic while small businesses were locked down. It was, can you imagine what the auto workers they're greedy bastards anyway. Now, the unions, in my opinion, being pro-union and being from Detroit and all that stuff. The unions, they bumped by a bam, I got a nose bleep. The unions ask, here's what they want. They want a 32-hour work week for 40 hours pay. Okay, so they want to work 32 for 40 in benefits, basically. Improved retirement, all that was taken away, 2019. Health care, they want some job security, okay? You all know, everybody knows we have a problem with the border, okay? We have AI. Wouldn't it nice to know that your job is a little secure? I don't know if our job is being threatened right now, Andy, but pretty soon maybe an illegal will be doing the show and Andy and I will be like somewhere else and you'll have somebody doing my show. Like I said, they were signed back in 2019. Now, they want the 40 hours for 32-hour week with 40 hours of pay, improved health care, and guarantees of job security. None of that seems out of line or unreasonable to me. Okay, the United Auto Workers and the labor unions have also taken on the big three. They don't like the reliance that the large corporations, I just touched on it, temporary workers. They don't want temps, okay? They don't want temps. Temps are a threat to their job. And temps are what I just said. We have a problem with the border. We have illegals everywhere now. People that are undocumented workers. Remember now, also, you got to remember this too, that the auto recession that the industry had, and we're going to go way back, Andy, to like 2007, 2008. The recession that just, boom, hit the auto industry, devastated it. The bailout in 2009, okay, the auto bailout, it'd be nice, if they, we bailed out the auto industry twice, okay? Was it in 2009, the major one, and then in the Obama administration, the minor one. The banking industry twice. Wells Fargo and them are always getting bailed out. And everybody's screaming about, students. We're willing to bail out the big corporations, the automobile industry, the banking industry, but not the students. And by the way, the majority of students that owe student loans don't owe you, the taxpayers. They owe the freaking banks that charge. Andy, throw one up. Just throw an interest up. Anyone. Just not anyone at all. 28% compounded daily, Wells Fargo. That's the student loan. That's how they calculate your loan. 28% compounded daily. Since the bailouts in the last 14 years, the auto industry, you guessed it, record profits. Record profits. They have had record profits since the bailout, the last 14 years. How about the workers? What have they got in the last 14 years? Squat! They haven't gotten shit. Bullshit! They haven't gotten anything. I think personally that they haven't, Andy. They haven't. I mean, even Skullman is Skeletor, which we'll get to Skeletor in a minute. I think this stand-up strike, as they call it, by the United Auto Workers, I think it could have devastating, rippling effects on our economy. It's a big bulk of what America does. I mean, first of all, we got supply chains. And when I say the auto workers go on strike, it's like writers in Hollywood and actors. Not just Margot Robbie goes on strike and walking the picket line, but the guy behind the camera. Wouldn't be just me going on. Andy, if we were part of the entertainment union, which we're not, and we were on strike, we would both be on strike. Me as the guy on camera, and Andy as the guy running all my data, running all the being my straight man, running the cameras, lights, cameras, action. We'd be on strike. So it's when the auto industry, when the United Auto Workers go on strike, it affects the whole supply chain. Parts, equipment, supplies, tires, dealers. Everyone is involved in the auto industry will be getting involved. Napa Auto and O'Reilly's? Yeah, of course. Sure. They're all part of the bigger picture. The guys in the auto plant are on strike. Then the guys in the foundry are on strike. They're not making engine blocks, brakes, and parts, and the tire guys are on strike. So Goodyear, Firestone, Goodrich, those all guys are like sitting down at the bar or something. Most of the suppliers in this country, or anywhere in Mexico, they depend on the Detroit 3, Chrysler, GM, Ford, for 20% 25 to 45 of their total net sales. So the strikes could have crippling effects across the whole auto industry. I mean, come on. Look what the actors, like I said, look at TV. It's Family Feud. It's Celebrity Jeopardy. It's Big Brother. It's Senior Bachelorette. It's the overload. That's because Grey's Anatomy and Law and Order and The Resident and NCIS and all the shows that are usually coming on in the fall and new shows in the fall, there are none. So that's the same thing when it is the auto industry. You know, we're not, you know, you're not going to go to the car dealer and you're like, come on down, it's Celebrity Jeopardy. It's not going to, or it might be. It might be that. But yeah, speaking of going to car dealers, forget it. You got rising interest rates, Bidenomics. It makes between inflation, the Fed keep rising the interest rates. It makes buying a car pretty rich. Hey, a new car. I'll tell you what, Andy, I'm glad you put that in. So, because I have this question right here that I was going to ask you. Andy's really on the ball this morning. He's like answering questions before I'm even asking them. And that was that, what I was going to say is, well, what does this mean for the economy? If we got 12,000 workers, they're threatening to rotate, they're threatening to take this, what does it mean? A report from the Anderson Economic Group. Who is that, Andy? They are a government-funded research group out of Washington, D.C., the Anderson Economic Group. Sounds like a bunch of mobsters. Or the Anderson Economic Group, you better pay us. No, all right. He says I'm wrong. They said that a 10-day strike, and it's started Friday, so we got Saturday, Sunday, today's Monday, 3. Okay, so they say that a 10-day strike, a 10-day strike against the big 3 Detroit automakers would cost the economy about $5 billion. $5 billion is no drop in the bucket. We got all sorts of shit going on too, Andy. I mean, seriously, I'm talking about all of this back and forth. It's like $5 billion. These guys are going to just be on strike. We got, like I said, we got all sorts of shit going on. We got actors and writers, like I've mentioned. We got student loans coming back to repayment. And trust me, you got kids that haven't been paying that for a long time. Okay? And all of a sudden, they got to start paying those interest-heavy loans that are what? 28% compounded daily. That's like mafia lending rates. Okay? You got that coming up. You got inflation at an all-time high. There's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. And untouchable interest rates. You think car prices are now high now? Wait till they're on strike for another couple weeks. Okay? They'll be down, yeah. Okay? I know. And Andy's like, AI, throw in artificial intelligence. We're going to have to do a show on just that. Because it's creepy. It is. It's creepy. There's a lot of angst going on about artificial intelligence. And in all the middle of this, we got actors' strikes, writers' strikes, student loan repayment, auto workers' strikes, inflation at an all-time high. You see what gas is this morning coming to work? It's like $4.20 and not in a very good way. Yeah, man, gas is $4.20. Snap out of it. That's not cool. In the midst of all of this sits our Commander-in-Chief, Joe Biden. Is he too old? I mean, Clint Eastwood is working on a new movie and he's 93. Paul McCartney's touring, he's 81. Rupert Murdoch is running Fox at 82. I seen Helen Mirren the other day. She's like 78, and I'm like, well, she's hot. Can you say Grandma Moses? Okay. So Trump said on NBC this weekend that he didn't think that Biden was too old and that he wasn't too old. He just thought Biden was incompetent. I think Biden's problem is, I think it's so much more about him and his abilities. The truth about Joe Biden as a candidate, as a senator, as a vice president, and as a president, he's always had this loose relationship, call it, with reality. I know, Andy, he's just willing to, make things up. Like that recent story about his house burning, almost burned down. It's a lie. His house never almost burned down. And he's told it on 8, 9 times over the last 8 years or something? It's simply not true. It's not true it's not true that it just doesn't matter to Biden. He doesn't. I don't know, Andy. I mean, geez, President Biden was telling the parents of those who were killed during his administration's disastrous Afghanistan evacuation. And he's telling these parents, that my son, Bo, had died serving in Iraq. It's just, that's another example of his mystifying willingness to make things up. By the way, his son Bo died of cancer in Maryland. Now, Biden's lack of accurate memory may have gotten a little worse, but there's always been a gap with Biden when it comes to his stories, his recollections, and the actual truth. Our current, and I've talked about this again before, I've talked about how I've worked in the senior programs when I wasn't before in a previous life. I worked in human services and I worked with seniors. I know that I know that we are witnessing our president's cognitive decline, and it's clear. And I think it's actually painful to watch. To have the leader of the most powerful nation in the world just wander around the stage because he doesn't know where he's supposed to be going or where he's supposed to be doing? It's plain frightening. I've talked about elder abuse before. His slipping into a lifetime of tall tales along with the cognitive decline, I think it makes matters worse. I've talked about this before with Biden. I watch it. You watch him on the stage. He doesn't know where he's at. When he did the Vietnam Veterans Medal ceremony, he walked right out when he was like halfway through. And he just, Donald Trump, again, said this weekend, age doesn't matter. You know? Of course, he'll be 78. Biden will be 82. Come next election, which means if Biden wins, he'd be 82, he'd be 86 by the time he got out of there. If Trump wins, he'd be 78, he'd be 82 by the time he got there. Oy vey, old white man. Oh, come on, people. Andy, we're done. Andy says we're done for this Monday, the National Cheeseburger Day. So, don't forget, everybody, thanks for coming. We're going to be here next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but Andy's already sending me notes. So, maybe we should do on artificial intelligence. Might be interesting. Hey, everybody, don't forget to spay and neuter. Adopt, don't shop. Rescue, foster, volunteer, get involved, do whatever. Adopt a shelter pet today. Until next Monday, we are out of here.